What are the keys to a successful farm business? Sisters Kris Straub and Kimberly Hansen share their insights on this episode of Food, Flowers, and Fun, visits with farm women from around the world. If you're the woman who does it all, farm work, housework, bookwork, homework, getting up at the break of dawn, this is the podcast for you.
How do you multiply by fractions now?
Get away from the cares of the day. Restock, rootstock, feedstock, seed stock. Chat with women around the world to raise food, flowers, and fun. With your host, Kay Castrataro. That's me. Welcome back to Food, Flowers, and Fun. I am your host, Kay Castrataro. As always, we are sponsored by Penlight for Farmers, helping you create purposeful farm lives, rich in time, energy, and abundance. And today, you might notice, I've got two sisters here, and because I'm so close to my sister, it's really fun to have another set of sisters here to chat about their farm. So we've got Kris Straub and Kimberly Hansen from Tenderloin Farms Lavender. Ladies, welcome. How are you today?
Most excellent.
Just fine, thanks.
Most excellent. Welcome to the Midwest, where it's 32 degrees at night, 91 on Thursday.
Oh,
Yeah.
Gotta love that Midwestern weather. If you don't like it, don't worry, it's gonna change.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me about your farm history. You guys go all the way back to Germany.
Yep.
Your
We're
history.
back
So
to Germany.
why don't you tell us about Germany?
So from the research Kris has done, it looks like, 1853,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
our great-great-grandfather left Polhagen, Germany. So we're back but we can trace it back to 1600s. But we haven't, we want to make a trip there to try to go to a church and look through the baptism records, but haven't done so yet. But yeah, 1853, came over, landed in New Orleans, traveled up the Mississippi River, and for whatever reason, came into Edwardsville, Illinois. Thank you, great-grandpa. And our farm's about 23 miles from the river, and we're in Edwardsville. And so you want to give a little brief history about what we've been farming over those years?
Well, we're German, so we keep everything. We found tax records, potatoes, eggs, hay, chickens,
Cheese.
everything. Our grandpa did dairy cows. Our dad turned it into a swine operation.
Okay. I think, that keeping records, I think that was the time period, because my great-grandfather's dad, so my great-great-grandfather, had the same thing, like lists of the crops that they were growing, how much they sold it for. Like it was just a thing that they did. Like they kept really good records. And
we have
we kept them. There is no
tax
7 years
records
later
way
you
back
throw 'em.
there. Yeah.
Well, don't we have somebody's obituary, great-great-grandpa's obituary or will or something?
Like you said, we've got a plethora of stuff.
A lot of stuff.
And I know, and yes, we have scanned it in because it was all paper. We still have the paper. We pretty well have tried to scan it all in and have tried to keep tracing it. And yeah, it's been an interesting, back then you could for 25 cents, you could file a lawsuit against the railroad and sue them for noxious weeds growing near your property.
Which we have.
Oh, which noxious
so,
weeds
like you said,
did they
we have
bring you,
everything.
Kris?
We have everything. So like Kris said, Dad did the hogs in 1990. So all along though, we've had acreage. And so in 1999, Dad got rid of the hogs and strictly went to the acreage, got rid of the rental property. So we kept what we own. So we have 300 acres. And even today, so Kris and I took over when Dad finally died in 2016. And so we have corn, soybeans, and then right after Dad died, we also just kind of went a little wacko and added lavender and just have take one of the farm places and made it our lavender business. We've retooled an old dairy barn, gutted it from an old 1900s old dairy barn, and we made it our shop. And then we have about 1,200 plants at that location. And in June, we open up and let people come and pick lavender. So every generation seems to make a change. We still got the corn and soybeans. We rotate the crops. And then, like I said, we have lavender. And a little known fact, there are 450 varieties of lavender.
Wow.
We have tried about 70 so far. Just like trees, palm trees don't grow well here, but elms do. So we've been going through what will survive, primarily winters and then wacky March. So,
Yeah, yeah, that early spring can be the worst. My parents have fruit trees and fruit orchards, and so, that's all
yeah, they're
things
blooming.
are going great, things are growing great, and then you get one of those crazy frosts, and it's like, wait, I just lost like an entire peach
Yeah,
crop.
season.
How did that happen? So you were saying that you went wacky and started doing the lavender. Was this like a grief response to losing your
No,
dad, or was it a
uh,
business decision that you needed to have a little more space to make? How did that?
well, I saw an article, or we saw an article. Oh, fart. I saw an article about a certain set of sisters in Pennsylvania did the same thing. But we are very active. No offense to anybody that wants to relax on the couch and watch TV and read. But that is not us. And I also saw it that eventually we'll be retiring from our day jobs, which day jobs is IT for both of us. I'm a independent contractor. I do medical software, and Kris worked for a major corporation doing IT. And for me, I kind of looked at like I knew I wouldn't do IT forever. So now what? Retirement, that's a bad word because I don't think we're retired,
Mhm.
but kindly are. But what are we going to do when we leave that life? And again, like I said, it's just not going to
It's your
sit on
next
that
career.
couch.
It's your next phase. I think
It's
that
our next
Yeah, next
phase.
chapter.
retirement really has this feeling of like, well, you're retiring, you're pulling back, you're hiding away. And I'm finding, especially for women, that this stage in life is actually one where we move into this whole new, richer sense of who we are. Like for a lot of us, like the kids are grown, we're done with that. We've already had one career, and now it's kind of like, what is it in my soul that needs to come out and make something big in the world? So I think that rejecting retirement concept is probably healthier for us.
Yep. It keeps
Yeah.
us going for sure.
Yeah. So what inspired you for the lavender? So you saw these sisters in Pennsylvania. Did you have any prior experience or interest in lavender, or did it
Probably
just seem
not in
like a good
lavender,
fit?
but they did something similar with the cut flowers.
Okay.
And I can't tell you why specifically lavender. I mean, it's if you want to say people go to the internet all the time or too many times and they go, oh, it's an easy thing to do. It's a cash
Mm.
crop. No, it's not. No, we didn't believe that. And no, that is totally wrong. So I always joke, in about 6 weeks, those articles will be popping again on the internet. They'll tell people lavender is easy to do. You can do it as a cash crop. It's just so easy. If you're really
Disease
into farming,
resistant, pest resistant, they're
yep,
perennials, so you don't have to
yep,
plant them
Great
every
cash
year. They
farming.
don't need a lot of pruning. Like, I mean, this is what I'm thinking with lavender.
yep, yep. So I can't specifically say why. I can't remember why specifically the lavender, but that's the venue we went. And agritourism in this area is extremely rare.
Yeah.
What do we have as agritourism? A pumpkin farm, one pumpkin
A
farm,
couple apple orchards, mainly apple orchards or fruit orchards.
and a pumpkin farm. So there's about 3 or 4 of us that are doing something a little different. And I think very similar. It's the parents, it's the kid. I'm gonna call us kids yet. Sorry. We went
Go
with
to
the
it.
pumpkin farm. We were in 4-H with them, so we were kids with them
Hmm.
and kind of doing the same, a little bit of the same thing. And I think now the boy's son has taken over the pumpkins. But like Kris said, there's also some apple orchards. So in our area, agritourism extremely rare,
Right.
extremely. extremely rare. Well,
Well,
you
it's
know,
a very rural. So I lived in Illinois and I lived in Wisconsin for a while. And so it is a different, especially if you're outside of the cities, it is a more rural area
yep.
all together. And so the idea of going to a farm for entertainment feels a little weird because so many people actually live on farms. And so they're like, why would I go to another farm for entertainment when I have a farm that keeps me busy right here? So I can see how that's kind of an interesting idea for a lot of people in the Midwest. And
Yep.
so it sounds though like you were able to find a niche and kind of do some agritourism with your lavender. So talk to me about how that happened and how you were bold enough to say, well, not everybody does agritourism, but that's an opportunity for us.
You know, talk about St. Louis
Yes,
market.
yes, I was just gonna go with that family from Chesterfield. So St. Louis is maybe half an hour to 45 minutes away. Depends what part of the county you live in. We have people that will drive over and they will ask. For us, it's just not lavender, it's the experience. You're gonna come to the farm, you're gonna be greeted at the door. We're going to give you the tools you need to cut your lavender. We're gonna give you a tour of our property and tell you about our family and the generations and what you see and what's going on. Then we take them to the lavender and they come back. People don't stay for 20 minutes, they stay for 2 or 3 hours. It's the experience. We have families that come every year and take pictures of their kids. The kid is now 6.
Yeah, you
This
probably
will
have
be
the
our
pictures of
sixth.
them when they were a babe in
Yes,
arms
in
and
the
all the
lavender.
way
Yes,
up.
this will be our 6th season of You Pick, but we've been doing this 10 plus years. But
Mm,
we have people, you talk about people living on farms. We have people live in Chesterfield, like an hour, 10 away, and they come and they're like, do you mind if our grandchildren pull weeds? Because they don't live in that environment.
yep.
They're
Yeah.
amazed.
Yeah, I mind if you pull weeds.
Yeah,
Don't pull
we
any
had
weeds.
a pond that we dug out. We have a huge turtle. Well, that was the big thrill of the summer. Let's go find Dino the turtle, which he's there somewhere again.
He's about 3 foot. He's about 3 foot
A
wide.
huge snapping
He's
turtle.
ancient.
I
He's
was gonna
ancient.
say he's got to be a snapper.
So
Oh,
all the kids, that's their experience on the farm.
yep.
And a lot of them have just never been on a farm of any sort. So like Kris said, St. Louis is we're 23 miles from downtown, a market of 2.2 million people.
Wow.
Edwardsville, which is where we're living, to the south of us, by the time you take the two cities together, we're 67,000 people. Springfield, Illinois, is an hour north of us, so we're 100 plus. So
Mhm.
we've got some populace.
Yeah.
I don't know where you are, but for like Kris and I, driving an hour to go somewhere is just what you do. If we need to go, don't laugh when we say Rural King or some kind of rural supply store,
Yeah.
it's 45 minutes away. So what? We
Well,
just
when
get
I
in the
lived
car and
in
drive.
rural New York, we dairy farmed in rural New York, and it was all dairy
Yeah.
farms. And
Yeah.
yeah, you didn't go anywhere for less than an hour. Now, where I live now in Rhode Island, an hour gets you across the entire state.
That's our
And
Yeah.
so
state. Yeah.
and so for Rhode Islanders, driving an hour is unheard of because everything, and we're so urbanized that everything is so close. But coming from, having lived in that rural environment, no, you're absolutely right. Like an hour or two drive, that's just what you do. Like you just
It's
do that
yeah,
to do business.
I mean, 2 summers ago, we had a family drive down from Chicago
4.5 hours
just to come see us and drive back.
per week. Yeah.
Wow, 4.5.
So, it's whether it's an adventure or, but it's, and hopefully no one will take offense when I say what I say that people come in from Missouri. We drove 50 minutes to get here.
You're in the middle of nowhere.
In the middle of nowhere, we're going, well, 5 miles south, there's some of the best eating in the area over there. So it's perception.
It's all perspective.
Yeah, we get it, but they'll show up and, man, we drove an hour. Like, okay, hey, okay.
Thank you
So
so much. That's what you said.
I
Thank you
know.
so much for that sacrifice. I'm so glad you're here.
And it was interstate all the way except the last 5 miles. Wow, you have roads. They don't say that, but
They're paved.
it's an
Paved
interesting
too.
It's an interesting reaction. So, yep. But like Kris said, 2016, we had added the lavender, and then I guess we were a couple years into it. Oh, well, actually, the summer of COVID, we were going to start the U-Pick patch,
Oh,
or open it. We were going to open it, and we held off a year. But it's kind of like, so we're doing this. And we do farmers markets. Edwardsville has a Goshen farmers market. Nice little farmers market. Lots of little people. I did a vendor meeting the other night. I think they were thinking, I mean, I'm gonna get the numbers switched. I know it's either we had 26,000 or 62,000 people that showed up, and it's every Saturday. No, we don't do it every
Either
Saturday.
way, that's
When
a
we're open in
big.
June, we don't do it, but we do one Saturday, July, May, and things like that. So we were doing markets, and then we just I think we just finally, are we going to do this? Because if we're going to do this, we need to really do, there goes my coffee pot, a U-Pick, allow people to come pick their own. We were doing products from the lavender. And so then the year before we opened in 21, we put in 380 plants specifically for the people to pick that. And so they come and pick their bundle. So we decided we do it or we don't. We're either all in or all not. And to know us, we're all in. So we put in the U-Pick, and in the summer of 2021, we opened up the U-Pick. We figure we average, so the bloom here is typically last week in May to end of June. By the end of June, it's getting so hot, the bud's going to dry up. So we have 5 or 6 weeks. We figure we average about 8,000 people over the Friday, Saturday, and Sundays we're open. What is that going to be, 15 days?
So each of those weekends is
Yes.
about 5 to 8,000 people.
No, total
Oh,
for
total.
the season. Oh God,
Okay.
no offense. If we
So
had that many people, we
you'd be
probably would
dying.
have left the state already. So, but no, total in the
I was thinking,
summer.
man, how many helpers do you have?
Yeah, it would be rough that we
But
get.
still over the cart.
It's still a lot.
That's 1,000 people a week plus. Like,
Yeah, it's a
that's a
lot.
lot
And
of
now
face
during the
time.
week, certain organizations can make private tours, like the local senior citizens centers in Edwardsville, Glen Carbon, Collinsville, wherever, Alton. They come in for a private tour during the week.
Our
Yeah.
garden clubs,
Yes.
Sierra Club. So we'll have different little,
Nursing homes
they'll
were
contact us in
big.
March going, we know it's early. Like, oh no, we start doing reservations in October and September. People will go, hey, we want a certain day of the week. So, and then the other question is, why aren't you open all the time? We have 20 acres of grass to cut. We don't spray.
And we don't live there.
We don't live there. So, we're cutting.
How far do you live from the property?
I'm about 6 miles.
I'm 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm about 15
Okay,
miles.
so that's a little bit of a hike. So that's enough that you don't want to have to be driving there every day if you can avoid it.
Yeah. Well,
But we do.
we do. But it's like we're cutting grass. We figure we touch each plant 10 to 12 times during the summer, each plant, weeding it, fertilizing it, trimming it, harvesting it,
Pull weeds.
put rocks back around it. So that's why it's, when we're on the internet, the giggle again. Oh, lavender is easy. Yeah, right. Okay, yeah. So I haven't figured that one out yet. I guess Kris and I, and then we'll get people. It's again. Do you guys take them in every winter? Well, there's 1,200 plants. Where are we going to go with them?
Yeah. Are they in your garage?
In the garage. So that's also, we said 450 varieties. We've had to work. What's going to live out in that snow? We had a week or two of the snow's not the problem. It's if we have the severe cold without the snow.
Yep.
And
because the snow insulates it.
Yeah. So we're hoping May 22nd. People are you gonna open? Like, it's a plant. We're gonna see what those plants do. So we're hoping. They're starting to green up. We always have dead ones, just like we're normal people.
And we forgot, we have a greenhouse. So we sell plants.
Yep.
So we propagate.
Yeah. In August, we'll take cuttings.
Okay.
And who knew when I bought this house in 16, the basement keeps a nice 65 constant. So down there right now is a whole lot of little plants under grow lights.
That's
So
nice. It's like a root cellar without having to
that's
create your
about
own
what it
root
is.
cellar. Yeah.
It's got that constant glow.
Yeah, it's got that constant. Kris is right. But we, like but said, we know some that are surviving this area, and that's where we take the cuttings from. You go in little big box stores, they just go to some big plant store and buy them for a quarter a plug, and they, are they going to grow in my area? Oh no. So these are the ones that are growing out there. Yes, like I said, some do die. It's a plant. There could be 20 in a row and one dies in the middle. You tell me why. We haven't figured that one out yet. But so we take cuttings from the ones that we've had luck with.
Hmm.
And so we will move them out into the greenhouse in about 3 weeks. I looked last year we did about April 12th.
Okay.
So they're getting nice and big downstairs.
Yeah.
So at least we have a little confidence. They'll probably survive the area. The difficulty is killing the lavender is
Water. Everyone waters it.
Too
Water it.
much.
They water it a
Yeah.
lot. And they put it in a pot. And I go, well, if it's a pot, it's called an annual.
yeah,
Because people ask, do these come back every year? I'm like, well, yeah, if you do it right.
yeah.
But they put them in a pot. Or one couple years ago, somebody goes, okay, you said it was going to rain a lot. So I put it in the garage 3 months ago. Should I take it out yet? And it's like, yeah, did you water it all? No, not at all. So,
It's experience.
yeah.
It's experience. I mean, we try to help them. Pardon me, clear my throat. We've got a Tenderloin Farms lavender group out there, and we try to encourage them to join that because we'll nudge
Yeah.
them. Like we were talking yesterday at the farm, there was a gal in there going, "I didn't trim mine back in the fall. Should I be trimming them back now?" So we invite them to ask questions like, well, like for here, it's supposed to freeze on Friday night.
Mm.
So it's like, hey, wait till after Friday, look what the forecast is doing. Yeah, then trim it back. Then her next question, how far?
Mhm.
And so we'll say about a third to a half. You can see in a lavender plant, it gets real woody, real
Mhm.
thick stem like a pencil.
Yeah.
And we usually you don't cut down on that. The plant gets, as I call it, very angry. And so we have people in the groups, and when we start doing stuff, we'll usually push them along a little bit, going, hey, it's August. If I were you, I'd be pruning right now because in our area, first frost is November 1st-ish.
Yeah.
So we try to get people to cut back their lavender by mid-September, if at all possible. So like I said, along the way, we try to nudge them.
And we give them little not cheat sheets, but helpful hints when they buy their plant or 10 plants. Here's some
Tip
information. Take
sheets.
it with
Those
you.
are tip sheets.
Yeah, take your tip sheets,
Yep.
We share a lot of information.
Yep.
Yeah.
But we found that what might grow at one farm doesn't grow at another farm. So we get it.
Yeah.
Soil's different, drainage is different, light's different.
Isn't it
Wind.
fascinating? Like I find microclimates to be so fascinating
Yes.
because our property is in a cold microclimate, and we're usually like 5 degrees colder than the surrounding area. Cannot tell you why, but you will come driving down the road and people will have like the rhododendrons all in bloom, and mine will be closed up tight. And I'm like, I don't understand.
But you're
But
right.
it's literally like a week behind
Yeah.
people
Yep.
in my area. And then if you drive, 45 minutes north to my parents where they live way up there, they're a good 2 weeks ahead of
Yeah.
of where I am. So it's like a very interesting thing how there really are these microclimates and that plants are really sensitive. So, you were talking about the different types of lavender plants, and I've had a lavender grower on before, and we talked about like white lavender and that some lavender is good for eating and some is not and all that kind of stuff. So what are some of the lavender that you have found to be very successful for you? And do you use different types of lavender for your pick your own than you do for, because you were talking about doing value added products and you do some distilling and that kind of stuff, correct?
Correct. You go for that.
Yeah.
Talk about
So, and then you pick Hidcote or Hidcote, Hide Coat. I don't know how you want to pronounce it. It's English lavender. So it's a shorter stem, but it's a beautiful deep purple bud formation. That always blooms first. We have a lot of that. And then we have after that would be super bloom and Provence. Everyone thinks the quintessential lavender is Provence. Well, yes, but no. There's 450 varieties. Um, but all over the farm we have other varieties. We put another patch in 2 years ago with some different varieties. We have some white. We have a little bit of pink, but it's not exactly white, and it's definitely not pink. But it's all based on the soil. Um,
Hmm. Oh,
yeah.
so are they
Oh,
kind of like rhododendron or not rhododendrons? That's not the word I want. Hydrangeas, where like the acidity of the soil will influence the color of the blooms, or is it more that they stay pretty
I'm gonna say
standard?
yes,
mhm.
because we could buy the same variety of pink. Like Kris said, pink is not pink for us. We show them the pink and it's pale, 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 pale. And so I'm gonna say yeah, because we could buy the exact same variety from the same place when we started it all out. And their pink and our pink,
Not the same.
but again, we're also different. By the end of June, we're sitting into the 100s.
Hmm.
And like that last week, it's just starting to fry. I'm gonna say fry.
They're drying out.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're
and
not
think about if
happy.
you had a beautiful rose in your house, and then you shut off the in the summer you shut off the air while you're gone on vacation. I'll guarantee you when you came back, that rose is looking a little
Oh, it's
ragged.
like the stuff by my wood stove that gets all dried and cracked up
Yep,
Yeah,
in the
yep. So
winter.
that's kind of
You
what
gotta
happens with
give it some
ours.
extra love.
yeah.
So, but a few years back too, we found a variety called Riverina Thomas. Extremely hard to find. Oh, wait a minute, there's a couple hundred of them down in the basement. The thing oh my
They're
goodness.
beautiful. Extra long stems.
Yeah,
Okay, so really good to cut
extra long
flowers.
buds. You were talking about, do we differentiate when we distill? Do we differentiate in the products? When we distill, we use Grosso.
We use Grosso for that hydrosol classic fragrance. If we use Munstead, it smells a little musky. If
Mm.
we do the pink, it's very sweet. So for us, it's like, do we want to bottle 17 varieties? And no, it's too much. Let's just keep it simple.
Mm.
So we basically just distill the Grosso for the hydrosol, the floral water, if you want to call it generically.
Yep.
But
For the products, we don't,
whatever.
we use whatever, and
So
we're
talk to
going
me
to
about the
be
products. What products are we looking at from you?
soaps, bath bombs, shower steamers.
Hmm.
We do the old-fashioned roller balls like grandma used to have right in your wrist. We do some, we collect all botanicals and collect old jars with lavender and call it farm in a jar.
Number one seller.
Number one seller. It
Oh, wow.
is just crazy. We collect old depression glass and make candles.
Oh,
We still know how to sew, so we'll do eye and neck pillows.
Plus your purses, your straps.
Yeah, we do lavender fabric straps for purses. We do baking extract,
oh,
like
Sugar.
the floral water. Oh, yep, lavender sugar.
Lavender sugar.
So we've got like, I want to
oh,
say
lavender
30.
sugar. Hold on, back up. I'm
Yep,
gonna stop you there. Talk to me about the lavender sugar. This is
go
the
for it.
first I don't know about
Really?
this.
So
There are many things I don't know.
I discovered at my house, I have a grinder, pepper grinder. So I cleaned it out and I just grind lavender buds in it to get a fine powder. I add it to granulated sugar and I let them sit for 3 to 6 months. The longer that sits, the more the sugar will absorb the oil from the lavender. You can make lavender syrup with it for coffees or teas or whatever. You can use the sugar for icing. You can use it on top of cookies. Like I said, my daughter-in-law puts it on top of sugar cookies and it's a delicious little hint of lavender. You can add it to any recipe that calls for sugar. And now you have lavender sugar.
La-
Oh, see, I'm
Yep.
glad I asked about
And
that. And I'm
then,
I'm sitting there. My sister has made us she made face scrubs for us, and I actually
yes,
have a friend who does them as well, and she has done
Sugar
them with
scrubs.
sugar scrubs.
sugar
And now
syrup, yes.
I'm thinking, ooh, lavender sugar scrubs. That sounds pretty luscious.
Yeah.
Yes, and that you would use different kind of coarseness of your sugar. We've done that before, different coarseness of sugars. You
Yep.
know, but what's nice with the lavender sugar, 2 years ago we sold syrup, but it has to be refrigerated and you got to use it within 30 days. Now we just sell them the sugar and they can make their own syrup as much or as little as they want. And they can control if they want a tablespoon or a half cup.
Yep.
Then they do it themselves. It's
Genius.
easier.
And,
So
and
we
you
do
sell
about
this stuff online, yes?
Yes.
yes,
You
we
have
sell
an
it online.
So you're gonna give me the link, and we're gonna put that down below so that all of the people that are watching this can go and can order stuff from you.
No
Yes?
problem.
Yeah.
Yep, no problem. We'll
Need
do that.
We need
Yeah.
that.
Now we don't ship plants, but yeah, if you want plants, like for us the plants, there's like 1,200 down there. Don't laugh, they'll be gone the first 14 days
Yeah.
when we open.
Mm-hmm.
People will come, and we don't let people buy. We've had a couple, they want to buy 20 or 50 at a time. Like, no, just because we have enough people that won't buy 2 or 4. So we just don't do mass purchases. We don't want to, so more people can buy lavender
Right.
and enjoy it. So
Right.
that's about the only thing you can't buy online is the lavender. So
Wow.
yeah, we do.
Wow, fascinating. So how did you expand into all of these different products? I mean, it sounds like you started with a lot of the skills and knowledge that you already had. You said, we both can sew, and you said you found an old pepper grinder. And so it sounds like some of that came from just inspiration from yourselves, but
Some
talk
of
to me
the
about this, 'cause
early
this is a great
products,
variety.
some of the early products all have very similar base components. And so we try again, more is not always better. It's just more, or, bigger is not always better. It's just bigger. That's why our dad, our farm. No, our farm doesn't need to be bigger. It's just right for us. So we have a lot of products that are the same core. Certain things are the same core, but Kris and I've traveled enough. We would visit other lavender farms, or we'd be out doing different things, and we just kind of watch people and what they buy. And then every year, I think we try to push it. We don't want to. We have no desire, I think, to have 200 products.
No, and we've added products and we removed products.
Yep. Yep.
There are some things we don't do anymore because that's just way too much work.
Yep. Or all the work, and we sold 5 all year long.
Yes.
Because we do keep inventory records. I know it's a crazy concept. We keep inventory records. We know what sells when it sells. Right before we do a big Christmas market in November, we'll run reports, and we know quantities, estimates of what people buy or what they didn't buy. So why take up valuable sales space on our table at a market for something that sold five things? So like Kris said, we've added some things, we've taken away some things. There's some things you could only get at the farm personally. So
talk to me about that. How do you decide which things you're going to keep just for on-farm sales, and which you're going to market either online or through a market?
It's like the last couple of years, I make lavender fudge.
Ooh.
Oh yeah. And it's just easy to take it to the farm, and I know I can sell probably 30 to 90 a weekend. But if I take it to a market, it's competing with the cookie lady that's 2 doors down.
Yeah.
So at the farm, they're coming for lavender. So they will try all these different things. If you take the unique items to the market, they're like, "Ooh, I don't know, what's that?" So
I'm going for that chocolate chip cookie next door.
Yes.
So yeah, like I said, it's we run it as a business. Like I said, we keep inventory, we know books. I keep enterprises. I know what we buy supplies for. We know margins. It's just it's not just a hobby. We try to run it really as a business.
And when you come, one thing we haven't talked about, when you come to the farm, we have this really lovely dairy barn. We turned it to a shop, but we let you sample our homemade lavender lemonade. We let you sample our homemade lavender brownies and lavender lemon loaf. So we're extremely nice, letting people try different things, and that encourages them to buy other stuff as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I got to tell you, I'm feeling like a road trip.
Yeah. And we put the
Now I'm
recipe up for how to
understanding.
make.
Now I'm understanding why you would drive 4.5 hours
Yeah.
from Chicago.
And we put the recipes up. We're not gonna say, "Oh, you can't do that." I mean, we
Well,
went to
that's
a
super
lavender
generous of
farm.
you.
Pardon me?
That's very generous of
Yeah,
you.
we went to a lavender farm a few hours away, and they took brownie mix and they put it in a different kind of bag and sold it. And we're like, okay, it's just Duncan Hines. What did you guys do to it? But no, we'll say, here's what you do. You do this, this, and this, and you're done.
yep.
You don't have to.
And we do try to make it, I don't want to say easy, but we try to keep it simplistic enough that, like Kris said, for our brownies, I wish I could have time to do the handmade, but it is find the least expensive, delicious brownie mix.
Yeah.
And we use our baking extract and some lavender buds and
That's it.
stir it all up, and it's just delicious and smell in the oven. It's just
No, we don't smell it anymore, and we don't taste it
yeah,
anymore.
yeah. We're kind of nose
just-
dead. We're kind of nose dead from it.
Oh,
But
really?
people walk up to the barn 20 feet away. Oh, smell that lavender. Like,
We're going, what?
No, we don't smell nothing.
What?
Oh,
What?
that is so interesting. So that makes me think of when I was a kid, we had replacement heifers. And I remember the first time somebody did a school tour with inner city kids and
Oh
they came
boy.
to the farm
Yep.
and all of them were like,
Ew.
it smells. And I had that moment where I'm like, what are you talking about? It
Exactly.
doesn't smell at all. And yet once you get away
Exactly.
from that, then you come back to a dairy farm and it's like, oh my gosh, I smell the cows. Like I
Yep.
smell that, but you do become, I don't know if it's that our nose becomes dead or that our brain filters it out and is just like it doesn't even register it anymore. But that's so interesting and a little disappointing, I would imagine that I mean, unless you find the lavender to be overwhelming. For me, I was telling somebody lavender is a really tricky smell for me because I don't like strong florals. They give me headaches. And so a lot of times lavender is one of those that can definitely give me a headache. So I like the milder versions. So in that case, being sensory dead to it would be a good thing. But that's got to be a little disappointing for you guys.
Well,
not
we
to
can,
smell it.
if we squirt it and concentrate, we can smell it. It's just, if you walk into the barn, no, not really.
Or like you said with the cows.
It's a
When
concentration.
you walk into the barn, it's like we used to run diffusers with lavender oil, to add extra smell. And finally, again, it finally sunk home with us going, wait a minute, it's just us that can't smell it.
Everybody else smells it.
Yeah, we're the ones that can't smell it. Everybody else is going, holy moly, what are you? Even at the farmers markets, we don't use a diffuser anymore. And we'll set up our booth, so there's lavender candles and there's lavender bundles. They've been
Oh, yeah,
dried.
I can smell it already in my head.
They
My
can
head is
smell
already smelling.
it. Booths away going, well, first of all, we have a purple booth. I mean,
It's suggestion. They smell it because they see purple.
Yeah. And then we can smell you from way over there. So no more diffuser. I'll say it that way. No more diffuser.
Yeah. Oh, that's fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. So what is it that's your favorite part of doing what you do? What do you love the most about it?
We've been off for 3 or 4 months, not going to the farm right now. It's hard to say. It's been downtime and
it's been inventory time.
It's been inventory.
It's been inventory time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know how much sugar I got at my house sitting there?
Yeah. I think one of my most favorite parts is, and it really doesn't even have to, maybe it does with the lavender, but like I said, that farm has been with us for a long, long time. And, I started raking leaves 3 or 4 weeks ago, and Kris and I yesterday were starting to take the wind fence down. There's just there, I don't know what you will call it, but there's some sense of pride.
It's in your blood.
That it's still with us.
Yeah. Yeah, because we had people tell us, oh, you'll be selling that real soon.
Yeah.
You won't keep this farm.
Yeah.
They really expected
don't
us
you
to
just
sell.
love it when people do that?
Yeah.
I, I love that. When I got divorced, my father looked at me and he's like, "Well, you're going to be selling that house." And I looked at him,
Yeah.
I was like,
Why?
"Why would I
Why
sell
can't I do?
my
Yeah.
house?" I'm like, I'm
Why?
confused. So
Yeah.
I had a marriage that didn't work out. Why am I going to sell the home that my kids and I have always lived
Right.
in? Like,
And both of our husbands have passed away, and people are like, "Oh, it's just the two of you? Oh, and your daughters? Oh, and your elderly aunt? Where are the men?"
oh, it's a bunch of
It's a
girls.
bunch of
It's a
women.
bunch of women.
Ah, bunch of
It's a bunch of it's but so part like I said, part of that is it's with us yet. Um yeah, I will say by the third week in June.
That's a different story.
Because we do these tours, what do we measure?
Oh,
It's like
I
a
don't know.
thousand, it's like 1,000 feet from the barn to the U-pick. And let's just say on any given day, Kris and I back and forth 20 times. So
Well,
we
of
get our,
course you're doing 1,000 people a
Yeah.
week.
we get our steps in. So I will say by June 25th, we're probably just wanting to go home and just fall into bed going, and we did this. Why?
Yeah.
What's your phrase?
Because she said it'd be fun. Yeah, I mean, we have people. I heard there's a tour. Can I come and get the tour? And we're like, "Sir, I have to go to the bathroom and eat lunch." "What do you mean? I came for the tour." We do it, and we try to regulate it, and it's so hard. We're like every half an hour. Then the kids will call us. "Okay, someone's here." "Okay, no, let's bundle them up in groups of 20 or something."
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just
It's an adventure.
it's
It's an experience.
it's an experience.
We have our own experience. We do enjoy the people. We are both very social.
Yeah.
The questions they truly don't understand,
No.
and that's we try to share with them. They truly don't understand. They have a hard time with the farming, the farming aspect, because part of when to do the tours, like, okay, is that lavender? No, that's corn. Is that lavender? No, it's soybeans. What do you do with the corn? And so,
Can I eat that?
yeah, can we
Yeah.
eat that? So part of our tour involves a little
Oh,
bit,
it's not that kind of corn.
a little bit of agricultural education. And they really, I understand. I don't understand everything about being a surgeon, so why would they understand? No, we harvest the corn, we dry the corn. There's corn bins across the road. I said they sit in the corn bins, they dry, and then we take semis, sell it on the commodity market. Bite me now.
Well, why don't you have that cornfield all full of lavender?
Yeah, why don't you have that cornfield off all the lavender? Because we all commit suicide. It's good for well, there's no market here for lavender.
Yeah.
There is not a there's just not, even in Squim, Washington. It's all pretty much tourism.
I would think so, yeah.
Tourism, or most of the lavender that you're seeing on any kind of shelf in the stores is European. Tariffs might have changed that a little bit, not really sure. But Kris and
Oh,
I,
we'll see. We'll see what happens with all the
yep,
shipping costs going up
yep. Well,
astronomically. Things could be interesting for a while.
it can. Well, for us, if I had inside information for 4 weeks ago, we would have brought the diesel and gas 4 weeks ago. By waiting till now, our little farm, the diesel and gas would be $1,500 more. The biggest purchaser of commodities is China and the EU. When we throw this extra stuff on them, it's rough. I mean, we used to sell beans for 14 and a half, and we're selling them out 11. So our
Wow.
farm is not huge, but please tell us where we're going to get the $32,000 that used to be there,
Right.
because whatever, we're not playing nice
Because
with others.
decisions were made at a level way above you,
Yeah, that affect
and
that
you
affect
have
a
to
lot
deal
of
with the
people.
ramifications of it.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
affect a lot of people. I went when we started playing with Kris just bottled up the hydrosol, and I went and rebought the bottles before the bottle prices went up. Yes, people, there are petroleum in
Yeah.
plastics. There's petroleum in oil. There's petroleum in tires.
Yeah.
So just a little bit, we're trying to do a little planning of stuff we need. Not that we just buy it because we're going to buy it, but stuff we might need just to help us keep it.
No, because it's not gonna, I don't see it coming down anytime soon because
Yeah,
I don't think any of the decisions being made, and this is
yep.
me not being a, all I know is
It's
what I
you
see,
know,
but I don't see decisions being made that are going to make that any easier
it's going to be
on,
a little tough. I mean, I know we've been told, just write it out. It'll be temporary. Well, majority of the farmers purchase all their petroleum in right before season starts. So that was March. So it's not just us. It's pretty much
yeah.
every farmer, probably all across the United States, that's going to plant some. If their tanks weren't full, they're going,
Well, and
ouch right now.
fertilizer, seeds,
Yep.
all of that stuff.
Potash out of Canada is up. So yeah.
And it's transport because
Yep.
even if the raw materials, like even if you had things pre-purchased or
How are we gonna get it there?
pre-reserved, you're
Yep.
not, they're not going to suck up all that
Yep.
transportation charges. There's no way they can. Like
Yeah.
nobody can
Yeah.
stay in
So
business if they don't pass the cost on. And so
yeah.
unfortunately it ends up
So we
on
do it.
the
So we
farmers.
do a little bit of that education when they visit. Not to the descent we just talked about, but we try to have them understand that so the grain gets sold to the barges, and I try to tell them. I try to ask them, do you understand who the biggest purchasers are? And they really, again, just not have that in a farm. I don't know their business. They don't know ours. So we take a little bit of opportunity just to kind of like keep your ear to the ground a little bit. Like I said, the diesel, potash comes out of Canada, so we tick them off. Then that. So again, just trying to give them a little bit of going. Kris and I were on we try to sneak away in January and take a vacation, and we were on vacation and we were just talking about what we do. We talked a little bit about this, and there was a girl. I don't know. I think she was somewhere in New Jersey, whatever. And yeah, and you can see we were talking about this, and she goes, I wonder if the farmers in our area are experiencing some of the same things you guys are. So, it made her think for a second.
And a little bit differently. I
Yeah.
think what's really interesting for me about your business is that you really do have feet in two different economies
Yep.
because the commodities market is its own beast, and I think that we've done a great disservices in the way that our commodities market functions. Like I think our whole system functions badly on the commodities. But be that as it may, that's one system. And
Yep.
then you have the direct market to
Yep.
consumer system that you're doing with the lavender. And so on the one hand, you've got these two different structures. And so that provides you with a little bit of buffer, when things get bad in
Exactly.
one or the other. At the same time, it means that you have to be fluent in the
In both.
language of both those very different
Yep.
markets. And I
Yep.
think that's really challenging. And so, I'm looking at this. The clock is my enemy today. So I'm going to have to kind of rein us in here, and I'm going to ask you the questions that I ask every farmer who's on here. And there are two of you, so I get a 2-for-1. I'm so excited. What, if you had one piece of advice that you thought every farmer should know, what would that be?
Can't think about that.
I think you need to do your research and don't limit your knowledge base to one source.
Mm.
You need to understand that you need to understand it at your level and not listen to somebody who could be a family member or not, or whatever. Just make up your own minds.
Oh my goodness,
And I'm going to say
that's
too.
good advice for everything. Like I'm
Yep.
thinking about our
Yep.
political situation, like
Back up.
get information from a wide variety
Research.
of
And
sources.
Kris
Mm.
and I think safe to say we are very into science and farming. Okay, so maybe that's my tip would be keep up to date with what's going on and realize how the science is changing and can provide you information and run your farm like a business, profit and loss. And I always say the word, Kris probably wants to kill me every time. It wasn't in our budget. Yeah, we put kind of a budget, no, the budget's going to fall apart a little bit, but we try to, we kind of try to anticipate what are going to happen. So we do try to very much run it like a business.
Mhm.
And yeah, the research part, yeah, some of the this is going to sound really, really bad. Well, we try to keep on top of what's going on. For example, should we in the fall, for here, we don't plow no more, but a thing in the fall is, do we run through with the disc or the ripper and turn over the soil? More research says no, you don't. Less soil erosion if you just let it go in the fall. And that's, I don't say it's a newish thing, but it seems to feel newish around us because I'll go by and go, they ripped. We didn't. So again, keep, like what Kris
Well, it
said.
is. I think you're absolutely right. I mean, some of these practices that are considered newly
Traditional.
sustainable or
Yeah. Things keep
regenerative. I
changing.
always have to say that word twice. All of those things, they actually had a reason and were often used in the past, but then we got the big equipment and we
Yep.
got the power to be able to go in and rip up the ground and do all this. And I love your saying about bigger's not better, it's just bigger.
It
And
is.
so like that idea that we can do more, we can do faster, and therefore it's better before we even understood the ramifications. And so
Yep.
now there is some backtracking that has to happen.
Yep.
And the science is now there. Like before it wasn't science, it was tradition, it was, it
Yeah.
Native
Grandpa said.
Americans, the Native Americans were like, well, we do it this way because it works. And then we were like, yeah, but now we've got these big equipment. We can do something different. And so I think that's really interesting. Ladies, I have had so much fun with you and could just chat with you for hours. I want to thank you for joining us. I want to thank
Thank
all of
you.
you out there, and we will see you next time on Food, Flowers, and Fun.
Thank
Bye.
Okay,
you.
bye.
Bye bye.
How do you multiply by fractions now?
Farmers calling, our show is all done. Goodbye, farewell, so long, adieu. See you next week, same time, same place for Food, Flowers, and Fun. Go in peace. Visit us at www.penlightfarmers.com.